Well, hello, my fabulous friends. Welcome back. Well, it seems like every time I do one of these whiteboard, it just really brings out more and more questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to summarize everything that we've learned up to now. All right. So let's start with soul families. Everyone's wondering how soul families work in with karma, and more questions about how to change your karma. So let's start with soul families. So if you remember, we're like these big clouds. There could be millions of us, or, billions of us, really. And here's our soul family. And in our soul family are little grades. So we start out as a kindergarten, and here's grade 12 graduation. And it is 12 because it's 12. We spend 12 lifetimes at each level. And then we move up to level and we become the village elder, basically. And we assist other people with their soul journey, either in the astral plane or we come down on earth and assist them. So for example, everybody, if you have that uncle who's just a fabulous guy and he never gets married, has lots of money, travels, does whatever he wants, he's probably just coming down to help other people or just have an enjoyable year on earth without having to learn any lessons. That's how you can tell somebody's at the end of their soul family journey. And then after, when everybody gets to the end here and everybody's graduated up here, then the soul family goes off to something else, or maybe they come down to earth as the next group of people. And this is how I explain, how I understand how, the ancient Greeks disappeared. Well, they all moved on. Either they went somewhere else. Some of them become angels, but maybe they come down and they start another soul family on earth and in an advanced, right? And that's how humans advance. We advance from cavemen to we move up a little bit. Before you know it, we've got some farms, and we move up a little bit more, and now we've got some tools and industrial, and then we move up a little bit more. Now we have vehicles and airplanes, etc., etc., etc. So obviously, some of the soul families are quite advanced for us to have all this technology, right? So that's why also how you can explain how all of a sudden, like, things really boom on Earth, right? All of a sudden, in 200 years ago, from horse and buggy to driverless cars. It's because this soul family that was all advanced came down to earth to try something else, to advance humans even further. So that's soul families. Now, we also discussed in soul families, if you were not advancing and you did something terrible to somebody else within your soul family, you get kicked out of your soul family. And you actually have to go backwards. You have to go backwards and to learn your lesson. Sometimes you just go backwards within your soul family. So let's say all your family and friends are at this level and they graduate to this level. Well, you'll go back to this level. So you'll somewhat be in your soul family, but you'll be backwards. You're there to learn lessons again and again and again until you get it, until eventually, if you try hard enough, you can catch up with your soul family. Sometimes you're kicked right out of your soul family and you're put back into a more primitive soul family to learn, basic lessons again. And that's the person who that just doesn't fit in. That's the black sheep of the family. They don't fit in. They could even go estranged from the family. They're just completely different. And if they know what they're here to do, to change their karma story, all they'll do, they won't get married, they won't have children, they'll just work on working for themselves, in meaning that they're a better person, a kinder person. These are the people who volunteer their whole life, very generous, volunteer, keep to themselves, don't have many friends, not a lot of family. They even may move away from their family of origin just so that they can be alone, because they're working, they innately know they're working to get back into their soul family. These people also, like, you hear them say things, I hate this planet, never coming back to this planet. It's because, you know, they're mixed in with the wrong soul with the soul family, and they've got some brutal lessons to learn. So that's with the soul families. All right. Now, again, I talked about, here's your soul family island, let's call it. And we've got the 12, I don't know if that's 12 or not, but we start right here from grade 1 to grade 12 to graduation. And we just slowly work up the ladder. And we can either work up the ladder with a soulmate, and or we may come down without our soulmate, to know what it feels like to live without a soulmate, whatever. We have soul contracts, and it's a big cycle. You come down, you go up. You come down, you go up. You come down, you go up. Well, I should have done it this way so you can visually see. You work your way up. The main goal is to graduate, just like how we have school down here. Main goal is to learn all your lessons, to learn how to read, to learn how to write, to learn how to do arithmetic, learn how to play the recorder until you graduate. And then you don't have to do those lessons anymore. And then once you graduate and you're an adult, now you get to do fun adult things. Anyways, I digress. So that's how the reincarnation cycle starts. And remember, your soul goes up back into your soul family, but your physical does not. Your physical has to stay on earth, and it will stay on earth. And it's of no consequence what happens to your physical body after the silver cord breaks. You can't feel it. It doesn't matter. You will just jump right back into this cycle no matter what they do with your physical body back on earth. Does not matter at all, because you lose everything as you ascend up towards the sun, right? Again, just a reminder, we're behind the sun, and we come through the sun down to earth, and we go back through the sun. And this is where people, God, the universe, whoever, the creator, the architect, the soul family, or the one soul, they're on that side of the sun. On this side of the sun are angels and earthbound spirits and all those good kind of things. This is where all your psychics and mediums get all their information from, not from God. God's on the other side of the sun, so the angels carry their message up to him and back and forth, and so on and so on. That's why on your loved ones' birthdays and heaven's days, those are the best days to communicate with them, because if they are on the other side of the sun, this is the days that they come through the sun to see how everybody's doing. So chat with them if it's their birthday or their heaven day. All right, so basically that's what's happening in our lives. And how do we move up? Well, based on what lessons we learn. Just like in school, you can fail a grade, you can get kicked out of school, you can drop out of school. And that was another thing. A lot of people have a lot of questions about, do I have to do this? No, not at all. When you get to the other side of the sun, it's completely 100% your choice. It's even your choice to cross in through the sun. You could stay earthbound for the rest of your life if you wanted to. But if you're on the other side of the sun and you're like, I'm not doing that again, that was brutal. But here's the thing, that's what we think right now, because we're in the muck of it. When we get to the other side of it, we realize what an amazing trip around the sun on this planet, on this blue planet is. And so we give it a go. Very, very rarely people don't come back down. For the most part, they do. And also, some of these clouds that everybody's graduated, everybody's up here in grade 12, and let's say they take off. So these are the Atlanteans. That's a great example. The Atlanteans. Everybody was graduated, and so the earth shook them off, basically. The earth shook them off, and off they go. Now, that doesn't mean some of them can't ever come back down to earth. So let's say, I don't know, let's say they went to Venus. Let's say they went to Neptune. And they have the same, kind of rules of, geez, I sure wouldn't mind another spin around Earth. That was really fun. What do you think? And they'll come down to Earth and to guide Earth, and as long as it's in humanity's best interests, it'll be allowed. So that's why we have our Teslas. That's why we have our Elon Musks and some of the great minds that come down, and they seem to know so much, and they never have children, except like Elon. He's on the other spectrum of, maybe he's trying to reseed Atlantis on Earth, who knows. But normally they have difficulties in relationships, which he does. And I have a bit of a theory that people with autism have some Atlantean in them, and I'm working on a autism presentation. I'm getting my information together, and I'm going to work on that. And something occurred to me that maybe we're starting to get, because our technology has grown so fast and flourishing. I'm wondering if there's Atlantean energies that want to come back down, but they're so advanced that they have trouble communicating with us. Anyways, food for thought. But yes, people from once you graduate, if you wanted to come back down, you can. I'm just doing a flyover, so if you want more information, go back into some of those other ones that I did specifically on that. So now let's talk about karma, the one I just did, and how does karma affect this? One of the things after I did the presentation, I realized I didn't really illustrate, and because I said anybody can change their karma around, anybody, no matter how bad it is, you can change it around. And I'm going to show you, here's the line of normal, or what we call neutral. Here's positive and here's negative. And let's say here's Buddy here. The worst thing you can do for your karma is hurt another person, whether that is mentally, emotionally, or physically. And or murder them or disfigure them, or even if it's an accident, that gives you really bad karma. But if you do it on purpose, that's even worse karma. And you should actually spend the rest of your life being kind to animals, to people, to doing good in the world. And I don't even know if that will change it. It might improve it. So let's say here, Buddy, he's got a knife and he stabs a bunch of people. Well, and this is normal. And one thing I didn't illustrate is your karma then is down here, down here. Okay. And here's just to get it to normal. Never mind, improve your life, right? Because we all want to learn our lessons and improve our life so that we get on to the next level. We don't want to repeat the grade that we're at. So let's say you've done something horrific and you've hurt a lot of people, whether, you're an adult who goes after children, or, you take your car and drive it into a bunch of people or whatever. I think you get the point. Well, your karma jumps right down to here. Can you fix it? Absolutely you can. So you decide down here, holy moly, I need to fix my karma because I'm going to be sent back. I'm going to be sent back. I'm going to be sent back. And I'm not even going to like that. So bit by bit, by bit, by bit, you let some, bit by bit by bit. It takes a really long time, as long as you stay on the path of trying to balance your chakras. So, you lose the lust, you lose the lying, because most crimes are just out of jealousy and lust, is you want what that person has. And if you can't have it, you destroy it from them. So you balance out your chakras, you live heart-based, and it's little by little by little by little. It takes a lot, and you have to be working on that path to get back up just to normal. A lot of people don't do it just because it's so difficult. You have, this is, you know, you have, and here's another thing, you have to be sincere about it. You can't just say, oh, I'm a minister now, you know, in jail, I'm a minister now, or whatever. You have to lead with kindness, and it has to come from deep within your heart. It's the way you communicate with people. It's almost, I don't want to say monk-like, because that is also extremes, but you know, you volunteer a lot, you're kind to people, you don't forget people, you know, even from jail, you can write people birthday cards and nice letters, and you know, I'm thinking of you and I hope all is well, and sincerely mean it. And little by little. So that's what I meant when I said that anybody, anywhere can start changing their karma from today. It's just, where are you on these levels, right? Let's say you're just generally a good person, but you've done a couple of things that might be a little sketchy. You know, perhaps, you know, you really hurt somebody by cheating on them or cheating them out of money, you know, or, you know, let's say you took a lot, you know, you just were, you know, not overly like a terrible person, but you've done some sketchy things. Well, your karma's probably down here. So yes, you've got to work it back up just to get to neutral. Never mind trying to get to positive. So, you know, the thing is if you, you know, if you ripped a lot of people off, and so maybe you can't pay them back, but perhaps you can donate money or your time to volunteer. Maybe you can start to somehow pay them back. That would be balancing your karma as well, you know, and living that kind of life. You stop the lying. That's a mental one, right? That's up here, because that's your throat chakra, your communication, your lying. So even just by stopping lying, you can inch your way up. All right, so that explains that. I neglected to say, because I said anybody can change their karma around at any time. Yeah, you can. What is the effort that is going to get you to neutral depends on what your choices were that put you in that projection. So if you did choose to take from people things that aren't yours, that put you in this projection. Also, you know what's interesting, and a lot of people don't realize, you can overgive and put yourself in this projection, put yourself into a poverty situation by not accepting things, abundance from the universe, and over giving, and you give people too much so that they love you or they'll like you. That can put you in a negative as well. And how you get back up to neutral and positive is then you learn boundaries. And then you learn to honor yourself, and you learn boundaries. So again, the projection from the choices that you make, where does it put you in these levels of negative karma? Something really bad, it might, maybe in your lifetime you barely get out, but at least you've saved it a little bit. So maybe you'll just, you know, have to repeat this grade rather than, you know, get kicked out of the soul family. But yeah, that's the worst you can do, is hurt another person. And then the second worst thing you do is hurt yourself by making gluttony, like poor choices about what you eat, gluttony, overspending, putting yourself into debt, being over religious, over mental health, not looking after your mental health, drinking, drugs, all of that. Over, right? Not taking the middle road. And that's part of this karma too, is the middle road. There's the neutral, positive, and negative. And there's the middle road in everything, in love, in alcohol, in spending, in making your way in the world. And as long as you stay on this middle road, then you don't have to worry about catching up your karma. And once in a while, you can bump your karma up, learn your lessons. Okay, so that's how it all kind of ties together. I like to make it as simple as possible. Please, for the love of God, if something sounds confusing to you or really doesn't make sense, don't stick with it. It's so simple. You are a soul, that you come from the sun, SOLSOUL, and you come down to earth to advance and learn things and experience earth. Remember, I said earth is a playground it's an amusement park for your soul. It's the physical, the eating, the loving, the making love. Earth is where you feel love. Everyone says, oh, God is love. No, God wants you to experience love so he can experience it. You have to experience it here on earth, and that's how he experiences. You do not have emotions once you are just a soul. You don't. You don't have emotions. You don't have time. You don't have a name. You don't have a gender. You don't have a race. You're just a soul. And so for God to feel love, when they say God is love, well, he sends you down to earth so he can feel love, because you're all God's children, right? And so you want to come to earth to experience that, to move on with your soul family. And it's just no more complicated than that. Yes, you have soul contracts. Yes, you have soul mates. And yes, you reincarnate back and forth, back and forth. It's about, like I said, 1,000 to 1,400 years for a whole soul family to go through the whole learning curve before they move on to something else. And and how you move up is how you move up in your karma. And you can even just call karma consequences. Really, karma is just consequences. And the consequences, though, you don't see it and you don't know what it is until you try and get through the sun, and perhaps you make a choice to become earthbound. And if you do choose to make the choice to go earthbound, some people ask that question as well. Yes, you always have the choice to go back through to the sun, back onto the other, back through this, always, always, always. But sometimes you get confused, and sometimes you want to stay here to be with your family. But it's really no more complicated than that. And I know there's a lot of teachers, you got to do this octave and this 5D and 3D and 4D, and a new earth is coming, and it's all garbage. It's so simple. And I think what the problem is a lot of religions made it complicated, because guess what? Now you got to go Sunday and learn about, or Saturday or Friday or whenever they tell you, and you've got to go pray. Wow, that was weird. My battery ran out. So where was I now? I can't even remember. Oh, about the long term. Sorry. Like, that's the thing, you get into the zone and then something upsets that, and it's tough to get back into it. So that's what I was saying. It's so simple. You are a soul. You come from the sun, and you come down to earth. You learn your lesson. You have been white, black, Asian, caveman, a scientist of your era, a farmer, all of it, to experience everything on earth. And you go back up and you come back down with new lessons that you want to learn, possibly soul contracts. And for the most part, most people have just, up and down lives. Nobody has a straight life that just runs straight like that. It's, you get married, you get divorced, you have children, then you become a grandparent. In the meantime, you're paying off your mortgage. Oh, you're doing really well in your job. And that's where the 7 planets come in, the cycles that you go on, and you go from Saturn, you go right back to the sun. Then Saturn is where it ends, and you go right back to the sun and do it all over again. All right? So don't let anybody complicate it for you. Come here and be a good person. Do your best. You really don't have to, give away thousands of dollars. You don't have to volunteer hours and hours away. You don't have to let people stomp all over you. You're allowed a red velvet rope policy. You're allowed to have boundaries, because that helps with your karma. If you allow people to walk all over you, you're actually hurting yourself and your own karma. All right? So you can start today. If you think that your karma is running a little bit low, you can start today and start step by step, little by little, balancing out your chakras and balancing out your mind, body, soul, and just going out and being a decent person. That you don't take from other people, you don't hurt from other people, you share what is abundant in your life, and you love, and you let people love you, and you learn and you grow, and you don't have resentfulness, and you don't have lust and gluttony and pride and all of it. Just look at those 7 sins. There's your roadmap for how not to behave. As long as you avoid all of those, you'll be just fine. All right? So don't complicate it. Just imagine how nice this world would be if we were all just decent people. Just decent people. Worked hard, were industrious, courageous, stood up for things that were wrong. Things were fair. Everybody had enough food. Everybody worked for what they wanted, and just imagine, isn't that heaven on earth? Isn't that heaven on earth? All right, so there you go. I've kind of wrapped it all up into one. If you are having any more questions, honestly, just go back and listen to the videos again, because I really don't know if I have much more to tell you about this, because I like to keep it simple. And this is the simplest way that I can explain it. You don't need a guru. You don't need a lesson or anything. My next lesson I'm going to do in my teaching tarot is how to manifest in this world with this karma and these lessons. And again, it's not complicated. It's not anything you've heard before. You don't have to say anything 1,100 times. You don't have to write things out 500 times. You don't have to, have these crazy vision boards all over the place. I did do one that's called a becoming board, who you want to become, and that's also fixing your karma at the same time. So I'm going to be talking about that. That'll be coming up in the next week or two. I just posted the automatic writing lesson in there. It's only $14.99. There's over 50 lessons on everything from tarot to numerology to oracle cards to Lenormand, to, like the auto writing, to different breathing techniques and whatnot. So go ahead and click on that. The link will be down below. And I hope to see you there. And I hope you're enjoying these lessons. And I hope this kind of wrapped it all up for you, give you a really clear, simple idea of how things are working in your life and what we're here for. All right, YouTube's going to show you a video you possibly haven't seen. Why don't you click on that? And I'll see you over there. Take good care. Bye for now.